Hello, Silent Reaper, and welcome back to your second deck review. For anybody confused, the Static Demon ate a bunch of the videos I had filmed over the last week, so I am refilming them. I have tried to save the noise with like a variety of different like audio cleanup features, both in DaVinci Resolve and Audacity, and with other third-party plugins. So I appreciate anybody who was going to type a very helpful comment about how I could have spared the audio. I did attempt it. Peace and love. So we're going to refilm this one. It's going to be a bit faster because I'm no longer having to connect the dots in real time. Silent Reaper, I'm so sorry if you put yourself through listening to the original like 25-minute video, but today we have a Joshua flip deck. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the premise. Right, I forgot to do the PP joke because I was explaining the whole thing with the static. So we're going to look at their PP, their premise, and their practicum. Their premise is the idea behind the deck. It's what you hope it does. The practicum is the stuff you actually put in the deck, and if it helps you do that. Now, their premise... Youch! The premise is the idea of the deck is to build with restrictions, using cards I had wanted to use for a long time. I tend to play against a lot of Precon, so I didn't want it to be powerful. We can see this come out as we look through the deck, but I do think this is too many restrictions laid on top of one another. I think the main point to consider here, restrictions are good, or I'm not even going to say good. I'm not going to give restrictions that much. Restrictions are best when you don't know what you want to do, or when you have a concrete objective output that you want to hit. They are at their weakest. They are at their most ineffectual. They're most limiting for no gain when you have a concrete artistic idea. When you have like a concrete hard output you need to achieve, and you are resource constrained, you are tool constrained, you are like personnel constrained, then that can breed some creativity. Or if you have no idea what you want to do and you're trying to get yourself to break out of your normal patterns, that is where a restriction can be useful. Now here, we have a very clear idea of what we want to do creatively. We want to use these 7 cards that we have tagged cool cards. These are the core of the deck. They are Chroma, Angel of Fury, Elena, Kessig Trapper, Avatar Roku, Loxodon Life Chanter, O'Hare Astronil, Ortheon, Hero of Lava Brink, and Legend of Roku. And quite frankly, I think 6 of these 7, I'm so sorry, I can't stop. I think 6 of them fit together pretty well right off the bat. Everything but O'Hare Ashnil immediately gravitates towards, I want to have a deck that can make a lot of red mana. A lot of mana in general. Like even this life total thing, we don't really have to gain life for this to be good. Commander's a very high life format. You play this guy with 30 life, you play this guy with 20 life, you play this guy with 10 life. If we're making enough mana to reasonably activate the ability, we're still very, very happy with it. Wow, I think I've skipped too far ahead. Okay, give me a second to recompose myself here. Refilming, I thought refilming was going to be so much easier. But what we have done is we have taken this core of cool cards, and instead of looking for, where it doesn't seem like we have looked at how can we meaningfully tie these together. We started, it feels almost like we started with Joshua and then put the cool cards in and then began trying to achieve synergies. And the main synergy we achieved is we put Zerta in the command zone, which is another layer of mechanical restriction that means nothing to our happiness. So I think you have simply duct taped yourself to too many radiators, because now we not only have to manage that, like, one of our cool cards, activated ability, not helped by Zerta. Not helped by Zerta. Not helped by Zerta. Helped by Zerta. Not helped by Zerta. Helped by Zerta. Helped by Zerta, but not as much because it's already such an expensive ability. So when we look at the stuff that we care about, the additional mechanical restrictions we are laying on top of the cards that are at the center of our joy, they don't speak to each other. And it gets even worse when we look at the commander. The commander doesn't speak to what these guys want to do, period. Or they do, but only at a very, very surface level. We have not, I don't think we have successfully achieved actual like play patterns that talk to each other. I just think we have some cards that have the same words in both text boxes. So Joshua is going to discard us cards to draw cards, and then eventually he's going to reanimate stuff. But he's a very, very slow reanimate. We have to play the 3-mana commander. We have to spend 5 mana to flip him as a sorcery, and then we got to wait till the third turn. Yeah, the third turn of the flip, and then we get to reanimate something 6 or less. So that last bit does kind of speak to the stuff we want to do, because basically every cool card can be reanimated by Joshua. I don't think that's good enough. The card draw that is on him does not help us find them very quickly. The first two things he does deal 2 damage to each opponent. That doesn't talk to anything but Oher Ashnil, and it doesn't even talk to him that strongly, because you're just going from 2 to 4. Like, we're going from 4 damage total to 8 damage total. It's still in nobody cares territory. So what I would recommend is, I think a commander change is the first order of business for this deck. I think you could very easily find either a monocolor white commander or a multicolor commander that included white and some other color that also includes fun cards that you want to use. And then you can put Elena, one of your cool cards, in the command zone, good, happy. And then we can just build the entire deck around doing what these cards do, except for Oher Ashnil. He's probably his own deck. Decks that really want to do non-combat damage want to lean really, really heavily into it. Ironically, Oher Ashnil is the one that fits Joshua the best. Because if you just did like, oh no, because you'd have to flicker him, flip him again. It's still really bad. Never mind. Forget I even said that. But I think the first order of business is changing your commander and finding something that better supports the actual play pattern that you want to play. Like, the cards you want to play are one thing, but the stuff you want to do is you want to float a lot of mana and use it in combat. That's it. And then we have, these 7 guys that we really care about. I would suggest not keeping Oher Ashnil in the mix for this specific deck. Right, let's return to the point about precons for a moment as well. You say, I don't want to make this too good because I'm playing against people who mostly use precons. Precons are really fucking strong now. Precons will beat your ass now. A lot of people like to stunt. A lot of people like to act like a precon would never get them. There was a CEDH tournament, a Pantlaza out-of-the-box precon was advancing. It didn't win. Didn't make top 4. But it was, like, scary there. Fucking Travis Gafford won a CEDH tournament with Mono Red Alexios, which is not much better than a precon. But there's Hearthhole now. They've got Hearthhole, they've got Pantlaza, they've got the Turtles, who do karate very good. So you don't have to... I think like up until the point you're talking about like game changers and combos, you don't need to pull punches when it comes to deck building. What you need to do is communicate very clearly, because there is an overlap between people who mostly play precons and people who play commander without paying any attention to what's happening. And if you play against people who don't pay any attention to what's happening, playing anything resembling a good card or a strategy will seem like pub stomping. So if you're dealing with that, I would advise better communication, because otherwise you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot every Friday for the rest of your life, and it's not going to be fun. We don't have to restrict this much. My main issues have been with consistency for mana and ramp, and slow win condition. I think the slow win condition is entirely a result of your commander, your companion, and the cards you actually care about not having anything to do with each other. I think you take the companion out entirely. I think you make the commander do something that the cool cards you want to play do, and then you get more draw. And then you're consistent. I'm beginning to think I need to throw a bunch of rocks in this deck. Not sure. You definitely don't. The reason you think you need to throw a lot of rocks in this deck is probably because we have a lot of stuff that is competing. Oh yeah, we have treasure. No. Filler. So this seems a lot like, man, I'm laboring under this companion restriction, and I'm hoping that this companion restriction leads to something cool. And it's not, because you already had a strong artistic, like, compass point. Like, you had your true north already. You had the direction you wanted to go, which was, how do I make these guys look cool? And it's just being yanked around by the need to try to mash it in under Zerta. Like, I have no doubt you could make a Zerta deck that was a bit interesting if you just went full in on, like, oh, well, how do I utilize this companion ability well in the context of Joshua in my command zone? I think we could do that. I think it's breaking apart with, like, getting kind of close to 10% of our deck are these guys that technically fit under the Zerta paradigm, but don't give a shit about her and don't help the deck do what it wants to do. And then, oh, I've done a misread. There's a different core than the cool cards. They have the same problem. This cares about non-combat damage. We care about doubling. Sure, that's stone cold good card. I think all of this still holds. These are all, well, okay. Except for, we again have the one offender of, like, you have within your heart a desire for O'Hare, Ashenil, Sulfim. Like, you have in your heart a desire for a burn deck. There is a burn deck somewhere within you to go find. And then the rest of what you want to do is, I go to combat in Boros, maybe plus a third color, and I make a shitload of mana. And I give my stuff protection from a color. I make a dragon. I pump my most dangerous creature. And Joshua just doesn't give a shit about that. He just doesn't. He doesn't help you at all. So, low to the ground commander recommendations would be pick any white partner, right? Any white partner, period. We at least get one of our very cool cards into the command zone. Another good option that I think would at least tie together the stuff you want to do is Marisi. Marisi says, during combat, only I get to do cool shit. You also would get access to green, which would help you ramp to these big threats much more quickly. It would help you make the mana to activate these abilities much more quickly. And then you would get a little reward for winning combat. You could use Glory's protection to guarantee that your creatures were getting through, so that you goad people. You go, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? By the way, 10 dragons with firebending. So that's one direction you could go. Green would be very powerful for that. Blue would also be a very powerful third color if you were to get Elena into the command zone, because then we could flicker a big thing and use it to float a lot of red mana. But it's very tough to say anything definitive about this version of the deck, because everything is just so disconnected that I don't think there is anything to salvage. I think there is only a complete rebuild. And whether that rebuild is around Joshua and Zerta, or whether that rebuild is around the cool cards in the core that I pointed out, both of those are good. Both of those decks will work. They will work against Precon players. You will be able to have a fun time playing Commander. But I think what we have now is we're trying to just do. We're trying to engage in so many different axes of the game without enough focus on any one individual direction to get a meaningful amount of movement there. Again, I already talked about this. I think the life gain we don't actually have to do. You could have, like, a little bit. Like, Heliod Suncrown, give one of my big guys that I'm pumping lifelink. Not a bad thing at all. Like, maybe you could probably squeeze these in to your, like, big go to combat deck. It just doesn't have to be a theme. We don't have enough interaction. I'm not even sure what we have to protect, genuinely. Nothing we do is very threatening. And so spending a bunch of slots on, okay, well, how do I protect my stuff? Like, nobody's trying to rob you. Nobody's coming for you. They're pleading. They, they want to help you. And then we're cantripping as well. I mean, reroute's cute, but oh my god, activated ability, never mind. Yeah. So I think the stuff where the hurdle, and then the land base is terrible. But you know that. You called that out in the primer. To fix the land base, what I'm going to recommend to you, there is sorry, hold on. There is this Moxfield link where somebody has compiled every land cycle ever made. Look through for the ones you can afford that will make 2 colors, or if you switch to a 3-color commander, will make 3 colors, and just start chucking those in. You want to get down to, if you stay 2 colors, you can keep like 15 to 20 basics. I normally go lower, but you can get away with 15 to 20 basics. If you go to 3-color, I would go down to like 10 to 15 basics. You can go even lower, but I'm just saying where you would probably start to be happy with your ability to fix your mana. And then we just got to pick a lane. Every commander deck can be really good at one thing, pretty good at 2 things, okay at 3 things, and everything past the 3rd thing, it's dog shit terrible at. And we have picked an awful lot of things. We are reanimating, we are dealing non-combat damage, we are gaining life, we are firebending. We're doing the Zerta thing on top of that. Like we're just way too scattered. So I would decide whether you want to build a deck around the like, oh yeah, all my big juicy men are gonna hit you really hard and glory is gonna make them unblockable. And then I would make that deck. And then I think there is some type of burn deck you could do with Joshua. It would be really weak because he's not good at this, because you can't flicker him to reuse the ping over and over again because he'll come back on the front side. Which means you have to stack like a million doublers or something like that. But it's not impossible. It just means that everything in your deck has to help you do it for you to have a chance in hell of getting it done. And then I think you've got something. I think every idea contained within this 99 could work on its own, but they're all fighting for space, and it's just a cacophony of competing goals and competing priorities. So I would tear the whole thing apart, take a step back, think about which sets of interactions are the most important to you, and pick like 1 or 2, and then build a deck just around those. And then you'll get like 3 decks out of this, and you'll love all of them. So I'm sorry for how scattered that was, and I'm sorry for the audio issues on the first round, but I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helps.